Hello friends, welcome back to another session of Servlets. In today's class, I'm going to talk about cookies. To understand cookies, let us understand what is HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol is a stateless protocol, which means every time you request a web page to the server, it makes a fresh connection. And the server will not keep the user's information, cannot keep the user's information. So it will create a cookie and keep that information on the client side. Okay, so we'll try to understand this. So session is conversation between client and server over a period of time. So this duration or the certain period of time in which like the client and server communicates is called as a session. So the remembrance of this session or recording of this session is called as a tracking. So when we record this particular session, we call this as tracking. Now, what is meant by session tracking? Session tracking is remembering and documentation of user conversation is called as session tracking. We also can call it as session management. So let us now look into what is meant by session time. So session timeout is by default in Tomcat, it is 30 minutes. You can also change this particular session timeout in the web.xml file by using the tags session config. So what is session config? So session config is a tag wherein you can change the information related to cookie, where to cookie live, and the lifetime of the cookie, and many other information, session timeout and all that. So you can use the tag which is session timeout -timeout, and then you can give the specified time if you don't want it to be 30 minutes. And then this is the off tag of the session timeout. So there are four techniques in which like you can do the session tracking. The first one is using cookies, second one is HTTP session, and the third one is hidden form fields, and the fourth one is URL rewriting. So in today's class, we'll see what is meant by a cookie. So what is a cookie? So it's a digital cookie, or we also call it as HTTP cookie. So what is this cookie? This cookie is a textual information wherein we'll be storing a key value pair on the client's browser. Okay. This cookie will be used when the client is making multiple requests to the server. So every time, rather than giving the authentication of the client, there can be a cookie created. Through cookie, the authentication of the client will be made. So let me just explain you the scenario of the client and server architecture. So say, for example, this is the client machine and this is the server, web server. Okay, so now the browser will be making a request to the server. Okay, so the first thing that the client will be doing is make a request to the server. So say, for example, along with this, maybe the login and the password and all that information is sent to the server. So now what the server will do is this server will make a cookie. Okay, so it will actually create a cookie, and along with the response that will be sent to the client, this server will actually send the response. Along with the response, it will send the cookie to the client. Now what the client will do is the client will store this particular cookie in the browser cache. And when the next request is made from the client to the server, so say for example, this is the request number 2. When the request number 2 or next request is made to the server, along with this request to the browser will send the cookie, and the client here at the server side, so it will check the cookie. The server will extract the cookie information, map it, or compare it with the cookie information that it already have kept it in its database, and it will authenticate the user, and it will process the request and send the response back to the client. So during multiple requests, the client needn't give the username and the password and all that during the multiple requests. Once if the user gives the information, so throughout the session, okay, so throughout the session, that login, username and password will work through the cookies. I hope everybody understood this. So say for example, you're opening your Gmail, and you're requesting for sending a message to the server. So in here, like what happens is the login and the password credentials are given to the server. So the server will create a cookie and then it is sent back to the browser. Now what your browser will do is when you again make another request, for example, to attach some files to the mails and all this, now along with this request, it will send the cookie. So now the request that you're making is not fresh. Okay. So it will actually, it won't be considered as a new request. So you needn't give the login and password. So the server will validate the cookie and give the response back to you. Okay. So this is possible with the cookie. Now there are two types of cookies. There are two types of cookies. The first one is the persistent and the second one is non-persistent cookie. Now coming to the persistent cookie, so it means that the cookie is valid for multiple sessions and it is not removed from the browser cache memory, and it is not removed, okay, unless until you log out or sign out. Even if you close the browser, you are still there. Okay, that is what is called as persistent. Now coming to non-persistent, okay, so this is the opposite of persistent, where in non-persistent, whenever you close the browser, okay, so whenever you close the browser, the cookie information also will be removed. Okay, so that is the difference between persistent and non-persistent. In the persistent, you either need to sign out or log out to actually remove the cookies. So that's regarding the persistent and non-persistent. Coming to the advantages and disadvantages of the cookies, the first advantage is the user-friendly. Cookies are extremely user-friendly. The client can choose what they need to do with the cookies. All the browsers come with settings to clear history, including the cookies. So manually, users could find the cookies text files stored in the hard drive. So users can choose to edit and delete them. So that's what is user friendly. The next one is availabilities. Availability. Cookies can also set to be made available for a longer period of time. Once the cookies are stored on the user's hard drive, it can be available as long as the user deletes them manually. So even if the server fails, information can be retrieved from the cookies. Next one is convenience. So besides websites, cookies can also remember information related to forms. So each time the user visits the site, the address form will be filled automatically, but not the confidential information such as credit card information, password, and all that. Now coming to what is meant by marketing. So most of the companies, especially the e-commerce shopping sites, etc., tend to use cookies to target products to their customers. Information such as like the search terms, keywords, and geographical locations are gathered for their marketing campaign. Even social networking sites like Facebook use cookies to show relevant ads. So the next one is configurations. So cookies can also be configured as per the requirement. For example, it can be made to expire once the user closes the browser tab or sets to exist only for a specific period of time. So the next one is server requirement. All the data related to the cookies are stored on the hard drive without the use of server resources. So no extra load or weight is added to the server. Therefore, less burden is placed on them, which makes cookies easier to implement. So these are all the advantages that you get with the cookies. Now coming to the disadvantages. The first one is the browser impact. The first one is the browser impact. So cookies are not restricted based on internet usage. Whenever your user surfs the web, more cookies will be accumulated. Unless the user deletes them, these cookies will be a part of the hard drive space. This eventually slows down or lags the browser. So that is the first disadvantage. Second, and the very important disadvantage, is the security risk. Since cookies are stored in the hard drives as text files, it poses some security risk. Any intruder can easily open these files and view the information, and also not all the sites that collect information from cookies are legitimate. Okay, so they can be sites which are related to the hacking sites. Some of them could be malicious that uses cookies for the purpose of hacking. And the next one is size limitation. Size limitation also exists on cookies. They cannot store large amount of information. Most cookies are able to store information only up to 4 KB. Browsers to possess restrictions when it comes to number of cookies, except Internet Explorer IE. All other browsers only allow up to 20 cookies for a single website. And the next one is privacy concern. Apart from security, privacy is another concern for users in cookies. Whenever the user browses the internet, the cookies enabled sites will be recording all the online activities. Most users are unaware of such information, and that are stored on the hard drive. So as a result, this information can be accessed by any third parties, including government agencies or some businesses. And the next one is the manual disabling. So browsers also comes with the option to disable cookies. Users who are highly security conscious could simply disable them. Even some browsers disable cookies automatically if the security level is set to high. Therefore, web applications will not work without cookies. So next one is encoding information. Both encrypting and decrypting cookies is a difficult process since it requires additional coding. Due to the time involved in the encoding process, the application's performance will be affected. So these are all the disadvantages of the cookies. Now let us look into how to use the cookies. So cookie class is present in Java x.servlet.http package. So let me show you this package in Oracle site. So this is the docs.oracle.com site wherein I have taken you to the class which is the cookie class, which is present in the package java x.servlet.http. And the class information is here, and what is a cookie, all that information is here. So this class represents a cookie as used for session management with HTTP and HTTPS protocols. Okay, so cookies are used to get, okay, so user agents, which is nothing, user agent is nothing but the web browser, to hold small amounts of state associated with the user's browsing, web browsing. Common applications for cookies include storing user preferences, automating low security user logon facilities, and helping collect data used for shopping cart style applications. Okay, right. Now coming to another very important point is that cookies are assigned by servers. Okay, right. And using fields added to HTTP response headers. So these cookies are added to the response headers that is sent from the server to the client. And as I said, like it is there in the package java x.servlet.http, and you have a method which is called as add cookie, which is there in HTTP servlet response. Okay, right. And another important point is what I already have told you in the advantages and disadvantages. So the user agents, which are browsers, are expected to support 20 cookies per host of at least 4 kilobytes each. Okay, so use of large number of cookies is discouraged. Let us look into the constructor information of the cookie. So this is the constructor. As you can see that it is public cookie and it is taking string name and string value. Okay, so defines a cookie with an initial name value pair, which is also called as key value pair. Names must not contain white spaces, comma or semicolons, and should only contain ASCII alphanumerical characters. Names starting with dollar character are reserved for something else. Okay, right. So you should not use that. And what does name here represent? So name of the cookie, and this value represents the value of the cookie. Okay, so now let us look into the method index of the cookie. Okay, fine. So this is the method index of the cookie. So you can see get comment, get domain, get max age, get name, get value. As I said, like if you want to get the name of the cookie, you'll be using get name. Value of the cookie, you'll be using the get value. So get maximum age, and that get max age and set max age. So all these are the methods that are there in the cookie class. Okay, so all these are the methods that are available in the cookie class. But as I have already shown you that we will be adding the cookie to the response by using the method which is called as add cookie. Okay, so there is a method called add cookie, but nowhere here in this particular method index of cookie you can find this add cookie. Where is this add cookie method? Okay, so let me show you that. So the add cookie method is there in HTTP servlet response. Okay, so this is HTTP servlet response, and it is an interface. So you can see public interface HTTP servlet response, and so let me show you the method over here. So these are all the methods that are available in a HTTP servlet response, and you can see void add cookie and the cookie reference variable. So this is so adds the specified cookie to the response. So you need this method is there in the response HTTP servlet response. So you'll be taking the response reference variable, and then you will say, for example, if it is res is the response reference variable. So I'll be saying res dot add cookie, and I'll pass the cookie reference variable. So if C is the cookie reference variable, I'll be passing C. Okay, so this is here. In the same way, if you want to fetch the cookie, so which is nothing but get the cookies. So the get cookie method is not here in HTTP. It will be there in HTTP servlet request. Okay, so let me actually show you that. So this is interface HTTP servlet request, and we'll see the method. So the method, we need to get the method which is get cookies. I want all of you to take a very keen observation here. So the method is add cookie, right? So we want get cookie. You might think that we need get cookie. But is there any method called get cookie here? No, right? So what is the method that is available? So this is the method that is available. So which is get cookies. Okay, so get cookies returns an array containing all the cookies objects the client sent with the request. So this is very important. So there is no method called get cookie. What is the method that is there? Which is get cookies. And what it will return? It will return all the cookie objects. So to catch all these cookie objects, you need an array. Okay, so of the cookie type. So here that's why the return type is nothing but the array of the cookie type. So this is get cookies. So what get cookies is used for? It is used to fetch the cookies. Okay, so it is used to fetch the cookie. So that's it, friends. This is all about cookie. In my next lecture, I'll be showing you practically how to create a cookie and then how to fetch the cookie. I hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you for watching.